Hey, what's up everyone, it's KAGE. Welcome to today's video where I'll be giving you my review for Vampire in the Garden. Please note that this is all based on my opinion and this will contain minor spoilers for Vampire in the Garden. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Vampire Garden is Netflix's newest anime series. This is a short 5-episode anime about vampires and humans. It follows Momo, a human, and Fine, a vampire. They meet and become friends and then search for a paradise where vampires and humans can live together peacefully. I think this world has a lot of potential. There's a lot of really cool locations in it. There's a big human city where a lot of humans live. I think it's one of the most densely human populated cities in the world, and most of the humans there are soldiers and fight vampires. But the city is also bans things like music and art, and it's really filled with a lot of emotionless people. And all they really do is just live and kill vampires, and that's really it. There's also a joint city between vampires and humans, where vampires live on one side of the city and humans live on the other side of the city. And this works with them living together because the humans provide the vampires with blood and the vampires give humans money. To me, these locations are very interesting, but the show never really dives into them. Like, they don't talk about how they were made, or who created them, why they decided to create them, how do the vampires and humans come up with the agreement and stuff. They kind of glossed over some minor information, but they never really dove into it, which I really wanted to see more of. We never really learned much about the locations, which that's disappointing to me because I would really like to see more of these locations because I thought they were very cool and unique and interesting. I feel like they also did the same thing with some of the characters. They really only talk about the two main characters, Momo and Fine, but everybody else is vaguely shown. For example, I think Kubo, which was Momo's uncle, who was searching for her whenever she escaped, I thought he was a very interesting character with an interesting backstory, but it only gives us fragments of the story and lets us fill in the rest. I would have really liked to see everything that happened in the flashback of him and the vampire, because it shows a flashback with him and a vampire together, and it looks like they're in love. I would have loved for them to explain everything that was happening, so I didn't just have to guess. I took it as he loved a vampire before, but then she was killed, but I would also like to know everything that happened because I'm curious to see what drove him to be a ruthless vampire killer if he used to love one. That was a really big question that I had because I was just curious to see how would you go from loving a vampire to then I'm gonna kill all of your race. So, I don't know. It's just very strange to me. I wish they would have explained it more instead of just giving us a brief flashback and having us fill it all in. I feel that a lot of these issues are due to it mainly being 5 short episodes. I feel like if they had more episodes, they could have filled everything in, and I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I've been looking to see if they could do a season 2, but most things that I have seen said that they could do a prequel series or like a side story series with different characters, which I would be down for because, like I said before, this world has a lot of potential, and I would love to see more out of it. As far as the main characters, I liked Fine. I thought she was a really good character. I liked her backstory and how she is different than most of the other vampires. However, I think Momo was okay. There were some things that seemed like she was always getting saved by others that annoyed me a little bit. I mean, she even got saved by other vampires around, like Allegro. So to me, that was a little far-fetched at times and a little annoying, but I did like her actual story behind her. She was different than most of the humans because she actually wanted to learn more about vampires and she was very curious about music and art and all the vampire culture, which I thought that was really cool and it was different from everybody else. I thought the overall story was okay. It was mainly just Momo and Fine trying to make their way to paradise, but it provided some very entertaining elements on their adventure, like how Fine and Momo had to come up with ways to survive. Like when they went to the vampire side of the city where vampires and humans live together, and Fine had to act like Momo was her blood bag to get through and be able to stay in a hotel, and how Fina had to keep trying to fight off her body's need for blood with Momo being around her all the time. As far as the fights go in this series, it had a few good and bloody fights. The fights are pretty brutal and they were enjoyable. My only complaint is that they never really covered the vampire's abilities. I would have liked to see exactly what they're capable of. I talked about it for the most part, but I would have liked to see somebody explain everything that the vampire can do. The vampires also had a drug that they developed where it would make them kind of change forms and they would kind of go berserk and kill a lot of people and they got very strong, but it would kill them after a short amount of time. So that was pretty cool to see in the fights. It did explain some of the vampires' weaknesses though. In the cities, they had large UV spotlights that would weaken vampires and burn vampires. There was also a scientist who developed a robot suit that was made to kill vampires, and that was pretty cool. So overall, I would rate Vampire in the Garden 6 out of 10. Overall, it was an interesting anime that took place in a unique world. I would think I would like it a lot more if there was more episodes and it explored more about the cities and other characters. But for a short 5 episodes, it provided an entertaining story with some unique characters in a very unique world. So, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was definitely good. I definitely recommend it, especially since it's so short. So that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you think of Vampire in the Garden. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you all later.
Perfect.